And welcome back to the chat on Newsday Amarillo and News Channel 10-2. We're talking with Jody Holland, getting better. He's on the road again today up in Canadian Texas, getting a lot of rain up that way. So hopefully when he heads back town toward the Amarillo, he'll bring some with us.
That's the plan. I'll hook to it. I'll see if I can rope the wind.
See if you can drag it on in here. Yeah. We're talking about the leadership and establishing those leadership qualities. And it's on the understanding of Juneteenth and what that meant to people. And go right ahead, Jody.
So we were just talking at break that continual self-examination, I think, is really important. And looking at Chamberlain and kind of who he wanted to be, one of the things that he described in that battle was July 2nd, 1863. He said, "I may die today, but I won't die with a bullet in my back."
Right.
And when you're examining who you want to be, what Chamberlain decided, and his brothers were there with him, he just said, we're going to charge and we're going to do what's right, even if it's the very last thing that we get to do on this earth. And I think we miss that doing something that has a positive ripple effect can be huge. And there's so many people out there that want to be significant and want people to go, oh, look how important I am. That wasn't what Chamberlain was looking for. He didn't even think about whether anybody would remember him or not. All he thought about was, if we lose Little Round Top today, this is likely going to end the war in the wrong direction.
Right.
And he was fighting and his men were fighting. There's only 358 of them that were left there. They were fighting for equality. And they were willing to fight for equality at the level that they said, even if we all die for this cause, it was a cause worth dying for. So I think there's such a profound effect when people examine themselves and they say, who am I really? Like, who do I really want to be remembered as? And who do I want to be today? Because if you want to be remembered as something, every day you act as that person.
Right.
And going back to the leadership principles, we don't know people for who they meant to be. We know people for who they demonstrated that they were. And that's, to me, one of the most important leadership lessons that we can get is every day, if you are the person you're supposed to be, that state of beingness, then you behave as the person you're supposed to be. Therefore, you will be remembered as the person that you said you were going to be. But saying you're going to be somebody and being that person are not always the same thing. And that's why, you look at Juneteenth and the Day of Jubilee, as it was originally known. This is a remembrance that people celebrated as the people they were supposed to be. They were always supposed to be free and equal. And because people fought for that and because people were willing to die for that, we get to celebrate today to say, this is what it was always supposed to have been. But on June 19th, 1865, in the state of Texas, in Galveston, that became a reality in the southern states. And because people continued to celebrate it, it started 1866, then we get to remember. And that's, to me, that's the point of the stories, and it's the point of the historical perspective, is there were leadership lessons in there. Persevere, educate, make sure that you live every day as the person that you're supposed to be, and make sure you bring people with you. And when you do those things, you've got that coalition and that education and that self-examination and that grassroots movement where you just don't give up. You can change the entire world starting with a single person.
Right.
So that's my lesson for the day is you got to be who you were supposed to be, even in the face of adversity.
Well, and I was going to just mention, just listening to you talk about everything, self-examination. I'm also interested in, there's strength in numbers. So if you are examining yourself and you kind of want your children to follow in these footsteps and you want your spouse, a partner, whatever, how important the family unit could be. And I was just thinking that you've got to do the same thing with your family. You've got to sit down and talk about these things. within your family. You've got to communicate and say, these are the things, as the leader of the family that I feel are important. Would you have anything to add to that?
I will tell you the number one way that people become what you want them to be is you become it first.
Mm-hmm.
So whatever you demonstrate, doesn't matter what you say as much as it matters what you do. And I'm not saying that what you say doesn't matter, but it doesn't matter at the same level. So when you live as that person who demonstrates equality and loves all people, and you live as the kind of person who studies the historical perspective and has the conversations about why it's important and why we treat everyone with respect, that's when you have that lasting impact on your family. That's hard for people to do because we're in a crazy busy society. I get it. But it just takes a little bit of reading to sit down and understand the original story and then just talk. And then when you talk with your family, then say, now, how do we demonstrate that we love people equally? Then you go out and demonstrate it. But whatever you demonstrate, your people will follow.
Speaking of reading, Andy Andrews.
JodyHolland.com is the place you need to go. Great information on how to become the best leader you can be. Jody, thank you so much, man. Be careful up there and bring that rain home.
Will do. Thanks, guys.
All right. We're back right after this with more chat on Newsday Amarillo and News Channel 10-2.